Alrighty, welcome back everybody to the second week of our web product development program. It is the second week of our summer technology programs here at the Schaumburg Library through our Tech Bytes program. It's the second week also of our web product development course, where we are making our way towards being able to develop projects in the new programming language we're covering this summer of JavaScript. Last week we started off by reviewing some of the fundamentals. This week we're going to continue to review some of the basics, making sure our foundation is good, and then making our way towards actually reviewing and starting making some way on our first project. As always, thank you guys for coming out here today. We got a good crowd of people coming in these summer programs. It's awesome to see. If you guys do know any other people who would be interested, there's no commitment. Tell them to come out for an hour, see what it's like, and hopefully you guys will be coming back as well. So earlier today, me and Lobby got to meet some of you guys, but you guys, for those of you guys who do not know, my name is Ramsey. You guys, I'm not a senior at Conant High School anymore, and an incoming freshman at the University of Illinois at Chicago, majoring in computer science. Recently graduated from Conant about a couple of weeks ago, and I think this punny meme is there from last week when Chase and I were talking about puns. I know it's cheesy, but I still feel great. No pun intended, Chase. I think you like that. All right.
And my name is Labdi. I graduated from the same school as Rayan and from the same school as a couple of us that are going there. And next year, I'll be an incoming freshman at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Really excited to go there. And the pun or the coding pun meme that I put in there is, I need a break. It's kind of a response for Rayan's pun right there, but answering a pun with another pun. But there you go.
And fun fact right there, with Labdi's punny meme, we'll see how that's related to our project. We'll be using this too, so.
Yep, cool. That's actually HTML, so.
Yep. Cool. Chase, that's terrible. I think that's pretty good. Come on. Alrighty. Well, generally, guys, let's get started off with an agenda, knowing what we're going to accomplish for any certain date. And today, for June 16th, we just did introductions. We're going to be starting off yesterday. We did a debate of the day for 5 minutes, but today for web product development, we're going to do something else called this or that. Well, you guys will see what that's all about. Then we're going to review some more JavaScript, make sure that we are all good. We're just doing a mini review, guys, here to make sure that our JavaScript fundamentals are good. Over the past, in our spring program for the 6 months of beginning of this year, we covered a lot about Python. We learned about various concepts, how to type them out. And now we're making the transition to a new programming language called JavaScript. Last week, we reviewed variables, functions, stuff like that. And this week, we're going to keep on reviewing some more and make sure that we're all good so that we can get towards our project reveal. However, if you do have any further questions, we have a bunch of videos available on our Schaumburg Library YouTube channel for the Tech Bytes playlist, where you can find hours worth of content where we talk much, much more about JavaScript and the basics as well. So first things first, let's review some programs.
Yep, so we've been going over these programs for the past week, but just to tell the older people and some of the new people that just joined, Tech Bytes is hosting several sessions. One of them is Web Project Development, which is today. But Web Development Bell Day comes every Monday. And in that, we use the language of JavaScript to solve daily problems through code. So they basically come in either word problems or typical like math type problems, but instead of having to write down some work and solve it that way, we get to code, and then whatever prints out from that program will be our answer. So that's on Mondays, and Web Development Bell Days are really cool because we get to learn a lot of new syntax and problem solving that helps us build up our critical thinking skills and all that cool stuff. And then every Tuesday is something really new that we added just for summer. It's called MIT App Inventor. It's a really cool platform where we get to build apps, actual apps that we can run on our phones. And we did run an app yesterday, which was Tuesday. It's really cool because it's really cool to test your code on a physical device instead of just running it on the console. And I highly recommend you guys do join that. MIT App Inventor will use coding. Hirsch, yeah, it does use coding, but we use block code. It's not really different, too much of a difference between block code and actual code. Just you don't type, you just drag and drop. And don't oof block code. Block code can have really good logic. So yeah. And then every Wednesday, that's today, is web project development. We'll be working on a project throughout several weeks, and we will have a grand reveal of what project we have decided. And we'll be using the languages JavaScript, HTML, and a little bit of CSS for some styles. Finally, Thursdays will be video gaming hour. That is a chill day compared to the rest of the 3 days, where we talk about a single video game or a fun game online and how coding is represented in that game and how it is used to create that game. And then finally, after some talking, we do play that game together with everyone that has joined the session. So yeah, these are all of the summer programs for Tech Bytes, and all of them start at 1 p.m. So if you guys want to come join in.
Is there a video game hour tomorrow?
Everything is at 1, not 12.
No. Is there like video game hour? You said Thursday is bi-weekly. Is it tomorrow?
Yes, I believe, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like I don't know any JavaScript, so like I don't know like what to do or like.
Yeah, so a great thing about like the sessions we do run is that you can code with us if you do know JavaScript, but if you don't, it's a great kind of introduction to JavaScript because you can watch us code, and we'll be explaining almost every single line of code that we do, right? So it's a great way to learn the language if you're totally new to it. So don't be afraid to join in if you don't know JavaScript.
Exactly. On that topic, we do have a Google Classroom where we post weekly updates about every class. The code is right there, and I'll drop the link if you want to join there as well. But if you do make your way over to the Google Classroom, so hit us, and if anybody else wants to join the Google Classroom, hit that link. You just need a Google account to join. If you guys go towards our classwork tab, you guys scroll down towards some of our older programs. If you find JavaScript materials, last year we had a whole 6-month course dedicated to just learning JavaScript and reviewing what the language is. We started from the basics of the language and then made our way up. So if you go there to the JavaScript materials tab, you'll find literally 6 months worth of content, including YouTube videos, code links, which we did, starting off from week 1, making our way till the final week. So if you click open any of these links, you'll be able to see what we reviewed that day. So say you have a question about what is a Boolean, or say you want to learn more about what are conditionals, you can go towards any of these weeks, watch the video. It'll take you towards our playlist, the Schaumburg Library, and you can go ahead and watch what we did that day.
Wait, so do you also have like some CSS and HTML things? So
yeah, so we also reviewed some HTML and CSS, but remember that our main focus is going to be working with JavaScript. HTML and CSS are what allow us to make websites. Like HTML is the structure, CSS is what makes our websites look nice. So we don't spend as much time on that, but if you go through any of these links, we do cover it as well.
okay, and my thing is showing something like recording. So could you like turn that thing off? Because it's in the way.
There might be a status bar on the left which is saying recording. That's just because the session is being recorded right now.
You can click continue in the.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and Chase dropping the link towards the YouTube videos. If I click that, you'll be going towards our playlist, I believe. Yep, there we go. So all of these videos, you guys can go down towards the bottom, look at the JavaScript videos. There's a bunch of great content available there.
I thought Chase rickrolled us for a second.
I know, I was about to say that for 1 second. I was like, oh my. All righty. And do let us know if you have any questions, any difficulty getting into the classroom, but I think most of us are already.
Yeah, even if you try to rickroll us, you can see in the link it says after.com/playlist. Because every time you put the videos in the playlist, and rickroll is like only one video.
Wait,
That's
can
true.
you keep it there? I'm still trying to join.
You know what? I'll put the code in the chat so you can refer it from there.
Look at the code. It's already in the chat. You can just click on it with your Google phone.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Avanish.
Avanish and Chase. Thank you.
All right. So the next thing is the this or that, and the topic we have today is iOS or Android.
Wait, there's one more thing. My thing is, oh, never mind.
Oh, look at who decided to come in. Rishi.
Rishi, yep.
Finally. Yay. I keep thinking it's 2 to 3.
Yep.
Nope, always 1 to 2. Yep. All right, Rishi. So we're adding a
Android
part.
all the way.
I'm sorry.
Android all the way.
Oh yes, let's go, Android gang. In
Yes,
fact,
iOS is sadly one of the worst operating systems ever existent. I'm on a MacBook and I'm not hypocritical, but I hate it.
What do you hate about the MacBook though?
More secure though. That's for sure. I mean,
yeah,
the
that's
MacBook
true.
is fine. The only thing is the Finder, you can't close it. That's the only thing. It's like, it's so annoying to just see that one dot underneath it.
Oh, the Finder is annoying. You're getting used to it initially too. It's always running too, so.
But the only thing is like the iPhone, the iCloud is just annoying on the iPhone.
That's true.
Well, let's take a vote right here. How many of us here are in favor of Apple devices or iOS? Let's get a thumbs up or in the
I
chat.
have Apple or Android.
Okay,
Then
we
for
optimization
purposes, Apple's also better.
Each of Microsoft.
iOS is finicky.
So drop in the chat. Say me if you like iOS.
For me, like the MacBook, it's so annoying because on like the top left, there are these 3 dots, and to minimize and close it, you just have to drag all the way there. I don't know if there's any keyboard shortcut
Yeah, and
to minimize the window efficiently.
you can't like dock the windows either.
So we got 8 people in favor of Apple and iOS. All right. Well, you know, personally for me, I know Lovedy, I've been with Android for like 8 years, maybe 7, 8 years. So a lot of dedication. But for the laptop, it's always going to be Apple. MacBooks are just completely different. Never going to use, I don't think, a Linux or a Windows laptop for coding.
Yeah. I think Linux, I've like heard about it. It's way better than Windows and
Linux
Mac
is so
for
good.
coding.
My Raspberry Pi runs on it. It's really good.
Okay, cool. But yeah, definitely for like the UI purposes, just to, it's very convenient to have a Mac. You can go from one app to another very fast. Just like swipe 4 fingers and you're on a different screen. But again, Android it is. I've always had an Android, never had an iPhone in my life. So there you go.
We know what to send her.
You know, if there's one reason I might switch to this upcoming fall after this many years, it's because of the ecosystem. I feel like it's so much easier transferring files from my phone.
Oh
and
yeah.
getting stuff to your Mac, like the AirDrop functionality. I think Apple's really done a really good job of, you know, Android. They have a lot of apps, but they aren't integrated with like their watches, their laptops. But Apple with their phones and their laptops, their watches, everything, it's so connected.
Yeah.
If there's one reason, I think that would be that to switch. But no, never Rishi, never switching.
Yes. Also, I read your book fully. It was amazing.
Nice. I got your email too. You're reading it, so I appreciate it. Thank you, Rishi. For those of you who are wondering, you know, shameless plug right here at the Schaumburg Library. If you do want to check it out, The Switch Up. It's a pretty cool book I wrote early this year about sort of based on my own journey about a student's journey throughout the world of high school. Check it out. Ask Rishi if he liked it. I think he did, so yeah, we'll like it probably too. We don't talk about Windows here. Well, that concludes today's This or That. Looks like a lot of Apple fanboys and fangirls out here today, but Android still. I think there are many more Android users in the world, like a billion something. Probably more.
This or that, we're not doing meme-wars anymore.
We switched it up. Yesterday we had a debate. We'll do debates on MIT App Inventor Days, and then this or that for web product development. Alrighty. Well, now let's transition onto doing some more review of JavaScript, which we started last week. Just going over some of the fundamentals and putting them into some application today as well.
All right.
Tyler, do you guys use? I mean, does it matter which one we do, or
For
like just like coding in general, like for this like camp? Is there a specific compiler that you would like us to use?
oh no. We're just gonna use JS Fiddle for JavaScript, so we don't need any IDEs installed.
Okay, so it's fine if we use like Notepad or REPL.
Yeah, you
I
can,
mean, personally, I
but
don't like REPL, but Notepad.
we recommend using JS Fiddle for JavaScript because it's going to be a JavaScript project with HTML. That's what we'll be using. So just to keep it
Can't
consistent.
you use Visual Studio Code?
Yeah, you can definitely use that.
Guys, we all know that the Guava script here is the biggest language ever.
All right. All right, back to JavaScript review for week 2. We'll review some big syntax differences. So starting with variables, you always start or define a variable with var. So var comes before the name of the variable you have. So var, the name of the variable, and then equals to whatever value we want to set. Now, part A, let me annotate. All right, so part A shows a string being set to the variable named name. And the string is Chase. And then part B is assigning a whole array to a variable name. So the name of the variable is, let me make this red. Okay, so the name of the variable is array of names. And then again, we always have to put in var before. That's just a JavaScript thing. And then we set that variable equal to an array. And then again, array has brackets. And then inside that, we got a list of strings. Rayon Lab niche.
So a var is a variable. So variable equal to Chase. So you use var or as variables. And then for number B, I don't know what array of names is. I think it's the variable, but so variable array of names equal to, and I think you're using a list. I don't know what you're doing there, but yeah, you're giving like a list of names, I think.
Array of names
And-
is technically multiple names instead of just variable name is just one.
So if you guys see, some of you might know this beforehand, but some of you might not. So there are several kinds of variables. Let me put in text. So variables have, oh no, I don't want blue. Let me change that to, let's say white. Okay, so variables can be several different types. Okay, there we go. We can have strings as a variable. We can have integers as variables. We can have booleans. So strings is anything inside quotation marks. So Chase is a string.
Wait, integers are numbers, right?
Yes. Let me write that down. So strings is Chase.
And floats are decimals, I think. I'm not sure.
Yep. Yeah, it's a type of decimal, a really long decimal. And then integers. I just said integers for now, but it's just like a number like 10. And then booleans, not booleanos, booleans.
I know that one.
True or false.
Yeah,
So
like the
these-
switches.
Yeah, these are 3 types of variables. Now, other than like single variables, you can also set a variable name to a list of variables, and that's called an array. And you can have an array of integers, so numbers. I'm just going to say numbers for now. Number array or a string array. And then we can have object arrays. That's very complicated. So let's stick to number and string arrays for now. So does that sound good? Did I answer the question that you had, Tejas?
Well, so like arrays. Well, so what you mean is like there are like 4 different data types, and then like you could use and like for var array of names right now, that one is a string array. That's what that's what you taught us right now, right? Like arrays are like lists.
They hold, they're able to hold multiple values, right? So that's the main purpose of arrays in that second part B example.
Okay.
All right, so that was variables. Now next is conditionals. Conditionals are basic things where you put in conditions and then something outputs because of that. They're also called if statements or if else if statements. Now the difference, one huge difference between Python, something that we did learn for the past 5 months from January, and JavaScript is instead of writing if and then an elif statement, that elif is now else if. So now my screen keeps freezing, but let me type it. Let's see if this works. So if so this was Python right here, and this is JavaScript. I'll turn JavaScript in blue. So JavaScript will be if. All right, let's hope my screen doesn't freeze. All right, so this, okay, I didn't, let's
You're
add in
allowed
an
to. I put it
AUV.
in the chat.
Oh, perfect, okay. Yeah, so if elif is Python, and then again, colons is all Python, but when we do move to JavaScript, it turns to if, open brace, close brace, and then else if, open brace, close brace. So that's the difference. And then finally, functions is similar once again, but when we do define functions, now I'm just going to draw on here.
Abdi's frozen.
Yeah, I think she just went out. So I think what I was trying to do was show that in Python, you know how we used to have functions with def and then the name of the function? Well, in JavaScript, we literally write the word function out and then whatever we want to call our function with the opening close parentheses. Now, also notice a key difference is between JavaScript and Python, which we've covered over the weeks, is that we use braces, aka brackets, instead of the colons, right? So whenever we're defining a function, making a function name, we always use the braces. Also, in JavaScript, we're also going to notice that we also got to use something called semicolons. They're super important. Oh, looks like a lot of these magnets died.
Wait, I have a question. So,
Yep.
so like conditionals are like if else and then elif if else if. So and then wait. And then functions are like, I don't know what functions are because I didn't quite hear her. So
Yeah. So functions are like what hold all of our code. We have, a blank screen, and we are responsible for writing code. But functions hold all the code. It's sort of like a house, right? A house holds rooms and bathrooms. A function is responsible for holding all the code in our program. So we want to make sure that we're writing minimal code outside of the function, and most of our code is inside. We'll do a review of this as well in a little bit, Tejas. In actually typing out.
my name is actually Tejas, but yeah, so functions, like we have to put our code in functions, and what will that do if we do?
It's for organization purposes, so that all
Call the function wherever you want it to, and that would basically run the code inside of it.
exactly. So in JavaScript, we have a combination with other files, like we talked about HTML and CSS. HTML allows us to make some buttons, so we can generally link those buttons to functions. And when we have functions, we have code inside of those functions, right? So each button has its own responsibility. We'll see how that
Oh,
goes.
I get it now.
And
So
also,
functions are like for things in HTML, like HTML, you make buttons, and you can use one function for buttons, like something like that. So it would be more like easier to read the code than something like that, right?
yep, so both purposes, it's easier to read the code. Your code is much more organized, which is always super important. And also, you can call different functions for different buttons. So that's a good thing to know about as well. All right, and on the topic of conditionals, we were talking about a quick review of conditionals, how we actually type them out. In JavaScript, we have if, the condition which we're looking for. Remember, conditionals, aka if-else statements, say I'm going towards a stoplight. If the light is red, I stop the car. If the light is green, I go. Just like that, we have conditions which must be met for a certain piece of code to run. So if the first condition is met in the top left, then whatever code is inside will run. Otherwise, if that condition is not met and a different condition is met, then the code inside of that bracket will run. And then if both these conditions are not met, the else always means it's like a last resort. Else, run whatever's inside of this block right here. Run whatever code's there. So it goes if the if condition is not met, then look at the else if. If that's not met, then look at whatever the last resort, aka the else is. We got some examples in the chat of a function and a button. Harsh writing a button exactly. So right there we have a button. We'll show you guys how that works in a little bit too. And we are calling a function called math. We know we're doing that because we have open and close parentheses. And we'll actually do an example with that in just a minute.
Wait, so after every line of code, you will have to put those brackets, right? Those curly brackets.
So it depends. If we are using a conditional, like an if-else statement, or creating a function, then yes, we do have to write it. But if we're declaring a variable, just writing other lines of code, we do not have to do that.
Then we have to put this thing under the semicolon, right?
Just a semicolon to show that we've ended that line. Yep. So those are a bunch of great questions, and I think what we'll do is for today we'll reveal the project which we're going to start, but we'll do more recap of these terms to make sure we're good to start off. So, can I get a drum roll, please, or a virtual drum roll? The project which we will be continuing. So last week we posted in the Google Classroom of what you guys wanted to make. Thank you, Tadas. And we came to the consensus that we're going to make one large project throughout these next six and a half weeks. And that project is going to be a text-based adventure game involving some more user elements of the screen. We're going to use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to create a game where we control all the outcome. We're going to use HTML to make buttons, the CSS to handle all the styling, make our game look nice, and then JavaScript will be responsible for holding all of the logic of the moves. Avanish, look like we got a good response. I know Chase, Avanish, you guys were big proponents of this game.
Hey, Labby's struggle, like the one I made last time.
Oh yes, and that was in Python, right?
Yep.
Yep, I remember that. So we're going to continue on and sort of start off small, and then eventually, as we're working the final weeks, we're going to continue to make this game even bigger. We'll tell you guys how as the time comes about. There's a Discord. Yeah, we will be making a Discord. We have to do that, but we do have a off-brand Discord run by Avanish and Chase. If you guys want to join that. Nandini,
Okay, can someone drop the link for that? And I'll drop the link for lobbies.
Was Avanish and Chase here last time when you did this JavaScript thing?
Avanish and Chase have been with us since January. We started different programs, so they were here then.
Did you guys create? Wait, Lobby Struggle? What, Rishi?
Lobby Struggle. Don't you remember it?
Okay. From May, I see. I thought you just created a whole program about my Zoom not working.
Got a question from Nandini asking, will everyone do their own, or will we be making one giant one? So Nandini, that's a choice you have. If you have an extra device or you want to program as we go along, we highly recommend so you can get more experience when we're typing out code, so you can do it as well. Otherwise, you are more than welcome to just watch me and Lobby code out the game.
Discord's online, so for whoever doesn't have it, you can just sign up.
Yep, thank you, Rishi. And if you guys, I think we'll join the Discord too. Chase, make us like admins. The unofficial TechBytes server. Super Smash Bros. Is the thumbnail. All right. Well, that is going to be a project which we'll be working on. But today, like you guys were, you had a couple of great questions. We'll review some more JavaScript with conditionals along with functions, so you guys have an idea. And then we'll start off by documenting some of our game for today. So let's move on towards our coding website, which we were talking about earlier today. We had a question about an IDE. So we're not going to be using IDEs for this project. We're going to use an online website called JS Fiddle. So if you guys want to hop on over there, we'll be dropping the link in the chat.
Wait, so Avinash and Chase made this?
No, Alicia Chase did not make
I didn't make it. I didn't make it. Chase made it.
Chase.
Oh, okay. So they made the Discord thing. It has Super Smash Bros. In it, like in the username thing.
Yes, I am Unjur1, so.
All right, if you guys are having any difficulty, getting on and let us know. But this is going to be our website. As we're getting on in, guys, we've used this website before, but as a quick reminder, we have our HTML area. This is where all the structure of our code will go, the CSS, where all the styling will go, and then the JavaScript, responsible for all the logic for our program.
So I can go to Visual Studio Code now, right?
Yep, if you'd like, if you know how to use it with creating a project with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, definitely.
Okay, yeah, I know how to use it.
And as you guys are going on, I would recommend, if you can, make an account on JS Fiddle so you can save all of your projects.
Someone raised their hand on Zoom.
Yeah, Nandini, what's up?
I think we answered. I think it's still raised from her question. Any additional questions, Nandini?
I think it was that one question from Paul.
All right. So as we're making our way over here, we had a question about how buttons and functions work and how we are able to relate the two, and how each button generally has a function attached to it, right? Because it has a purpose. So what we're going to do is create a button right now, and then we'll attach it to a function and see and write some code in there. So if creating a button is pretty simple. For HTML, all of our HTML elements, we're going to need this less than or greater than sign whenever we're starting out with any element. Then we can simply write out whatever we want to create. So since we want to make a button, we'll do button. And then we'll close it off with the opposite sign, so the greater than sign. And there we go. We've made our first button. If I hit run, in our output area, this is going to be responsible for showing all the content which we create with our website. We got a button right here. But as you guys can see, it's a pretty small button, no text on it, doesn't even look that good, and nothing's happening when I'm clicking on it. Well, this is where we can sort of personalize our button with some HTML. We first can give our button a name, so we can just say first button. Now if I hit run, we see that the button says first button. And yes, asking for the link towards. So on Replit, we did have a shared link, but I think we can also do that for this.
Wait, after you're done with this, I want to show you something with the button.
Right. And there's a link if you guys would like to just watch as we're going along, but highly recommend if you can, go on your own project so you guys can follow along and get some experience there as well. So we got our first button now, right? But nothing is happening. Anybody know what we have to do now?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have to go to the.
You have to code it to something. You need an output.
I think I had to do like a function like if else. Like
No,
if
you could just do like an action, like you could just go to the HTML and give it a form and put an action and link the action to a new form, and then it will.
You want to hook it up to a motor, and then you can bind the motor to the function, and then when you press the button, it'll turn on the function
Yeah.
and turn on the motor.
Like
Yeah.
you do if that symbol like the less than symbol, then button, and then greater symbol, and then put like whatever all you want underneath it. Like if you want something to pop up, I don't know how to do that, but like if you want to do that, you can just do the if else statement.
Well, I think the general consensus is that we got to tie this button towards an action, right? And the way we do that is we have to create a function, which the button is going to be a link to. So remember, instead of doing def like we did in JavaScript, we're going to do function. We can just call it our first function, whatever we like to call it. Open and close parentheses, that still stays the same, but instead of using colons, we're now going to use braces. So shift, add the braces. And although tabbing is not as important, it's still important to organize your code. So I wouldn't say, just start writing random code inside of here. Always tab in, make sure your tabs are looking good.
Or you can click that tidy button really quick.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'll click that, yeah.
Wait, so you created a function, but I don't see anything.
Yeah, so
You
now,
still have to add content inside of it.
exactly, yep. So it feels like we got little helpers out here. Everybody's become so evolved. Everybody knows how to answer questions.
Yeah.
All right, so that's exactly right, Rishi. We got to add some content to this function. And the way we can do that is write any code. So for now, what we can do, how in Python we had a print. We could print out whatever we wanted to do. We can now just do something called a console.log. This is the equivalent of printing something towards our output area. And then in here, we can write hello world, the classic.
Wait, let me guess. If you do print in JavaScript, it would print it from the printer, right?
No, it would not print it from the printer, but good idea. It's the thought which counts.
Print, it doesn't work in JavaScript. Like there's no such syntax as print. You can either alert, so alert, and then in parentheses, put in any string you want, or console.log.
Yep, so we can even alert hello. This is an alert. This will pop up, and then we'll see in our output box, the console area, hello world as well. So now if I hit run and hit the button, nothing still happens. And the reason for that is we have to actually link our button to the function. So we have to say on the click, whenever we click our button, so it's on and then the C is capital, on click, we are responsible for calling our function. With the opening close parentheses, this signifies that we're calling a function. This piece of code right here is actually linking our button to a function, which is why if I hit run now and then click the button, there we go. We see the alert.
Wait, like I don't know what this onClick was doing. So like, what I mean is like, I was quickly just going to my Visual Studio Code and I wasn't able to listen or look on what you were doing. So I know what the alert is. Like, it just once you click it and like it will alert us with the pop-up, something like that. But I don't know what this onClick thing is. Could you like?
So the onClick is just responsible for linking our button towards a function. So it tells the computer that, hey, when this button is clicked, we want to call whatever function is inside of the onClick.
Oh, I get it. So what we're trying to do is like so like you're trying to like the HTML button, you're trying to link the HTML button when it's clicked to our JavaScript to our JavaScript first function, right?
Yep, linking the function towards our button. Yep. So that's just showing us how we can link our buttons towards our function. This will be a fundamental idea when we're working with our adventure game because the user will have options to choose what they want to do. They'll start off with a scenario, then go click a button, have something else happen, be able to choose, type in different things. So it's a good idea that we are.
I had some kind of like problem. I did on button on click equal to first function, but then I pressed run, it didn't work when I clicked the button, and then I just noticed my first function isn't spelled correctly. Like the spelled correctly, but I didn't I made my function like all the words no space uncapitalized, but I put everything capitalized. Some of the errors.
Yep, it's definitely case sensitive, so make sure you don't get the same error as Avanish.
Wait, can I share my screen for a second? I have something to show.
Jadas, can you wait till the end? Well, nearly done.
Okay.
And one more thing which we're waiting, always have to remember is that we have to add a semicolon at the end of all of our lines of code as well.
I mean, at this point, it doesn't really do anything with the functionality. It's just a good habit.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so that's a quick recap of our functions. Additionally, we can do a quick recap of the conditionals, which we went over yesterday. We have, say, a variable called x set equal to 0. If we want to check if x is equal to 0, then we'll alert x is 0. Otherwise, we'll just say x is not 0. And if I hit run, hit the first button, since x is initially declared to 0, we are told x is 0. We reviewed this yesterday as well, so I'm not spending too much time on it, but a quick recap on conditionals right there. All right, so now in these next, we'll take a couple of 5 minutes just to start creating a bare outline for our project, which we're going to start coding out more next week. So what I'm going to do is create a new fiddle, because with functions and conditionals. All right, so for today, I'm not going to add any HTML, but just going to document some ideas so that we have a foundation for next week. In Python, we use to document by adding a hashtag symbol. In JavaScript, it's a bit different. Use 2 forward slashes.
Yeah, that's good. But like when you just showed like some examples of in JavaScript and HTML today, can you show a little bit of the CSS thing too?
CSS? Well, I know CSS, but CSS is like you first have to link HTML to CSS. So yeah, and then like what you have to do is like you have to give certain IDs, or like you could just give the give a HTML tag.
Or a class. You could have a class too.
Yeah, you could give a class to CSS, and then like there's this different styling attributes that like you could use, but there are a lot. I only like know a little bit of them. Like
Yep,
yeah,
so
there are a lot.
I'll give you a quick example right here, Avanisha, and then we'll go towards writing out our thoughts. But if I were, we'll talk about this more. If I give a button ID, that's saying that, hey, this button has a unique ID, which I can refer to, and I can do certain things with that. So if I say the ID is first button, right? And then if I go to the CSS, there's something you guys do not need to know for now, just showing how we can use CSS. If I call using the hashtag, we can say that, hey, I'm referring towards the first button here. And if I want to change the color of the button, we'll make it blue. If I hit run now, we can see the text of the button is now blue. Additionally, we can also do the background color of the button and make it blue as well, like that. So that's CSS, making it look nicer. The stuff we'll do will be a bit nicer than that because that looks pretty hard to read, but yeah.
That's actually the thing I wanted to show you. I just changed my background color to red, and I wanted to show it to you. But I didn't know why my thing had a border when I didn't add it.
All right. Well, CSS is a bit weird sometimes, so it's something which we're going to be spending a lot of time on. It's just there's something we might spend 1 day on or half a day on, just for adding some colors, stuff like that, but nothing too important right there. So just to wrap
Can you
things
show
up,
like the code again for CSS?
we'll post this out in each of the Google Classroom as well, but like I
Okay.
said, not really important with today. Alrighty, so to wrap it up, we're going to do is just write some documentation for our adventure game. Like I said, our goal is to create an adventure game where the user can control the outcome of the story. We'll have to think of some type of storyline, which starts off, and then we have to think of the flow. What happens when a user clicks a certain button?
I have like 2 ideas for this game. So like you can make it as like just like the arrow key jumping game, or you can make it like a story-based question. Like you ask like the person who's playing, what should he do? Like there's this multiple choice question. You play like for 1 minute, and then he stops at some problem, and then the screen pops up with like a question, and it's like you have to answer correctly. If you don't correctly, something happens.
Yes,
I'll add a part
You
to the
could use the conditionals here.
yep.
I'll
So
add a part to the Discord server where we can, for like story, so that we can help like a part for the adventure game project.
Yep. So definitely, we're gonna have to use conditionals, and that's gonna be some of the steps involved, right? We're gonna have to first have a storyline, and then what is the user initially presented with, and from there depends on what the does. Well, we'll hold off on the steps, I guess, then. But
I have like a visual like base, like you want to like see when you open like the game, like it has to be like a cool entrance, right? I think you need to like for the CSS and like for like if you press this key and to jump and like navigate between like everywhere, you need a JavaScript. And for the HTML, just like for the transitioning, like you might need that when like after you press the keys, and then there's like an if else conditional, like there's a question that asks you, I think like the HTML would be there. So it requires all of the attention to 3 parts of the code.
yeah, we'll definitely make it look nice. But with our main focus with product development is more the JavaScript and a little bit of the HTML. But like I said, we'll definitely spend a week making it look nice towards the end. But the first, it's a part of making websites and in general working with JavaScript. You don't want to focus all the time making it look nice initially. You first want to make sure that all the code with the JavaScript is working out great, and then the end you can spend time relaxing and making it look nice. Exactly, hard thing, get the basics down. That is the idea. And with that idea, we are going to be bringing today's web project development towards an end. Like it says right there, guys, if you guys have any further extensions, ideas for the storyline, drop them in the Google Classroom or in the Discord service, like Chase said as well. We'll be looking at that. Or tomorrow, we do have video gaming hour, and then next week we got our 3 programs of Bell Day, MIT App Inventor, and project development as well. Hope to get you guys here. And hope you guys had a good time today. We'll hope to see
Wait,
you.
I have a question. So when will we have our next Tech Bites?
So we got video gaming hour tomorrow, and then next Monday we have Bell Day. Tuesday we got MIT App Inventor, and then Wednesday another session of project development.
So Wednesday is Tech Bites.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay.
And tomorrow.
We'd recommend sign up for everything, which says Tech Bytes on the Schaumburg Library's website.
Okay.
All right. See ya.
Bye.